Hello, how are you? So just saying, first of all, Dodge is awesome. So 1 year ago-ish, she Dodge, the boy, and I was working with Canine Companion for Independence. By the way, Canine Companion is amazing. Look it up. And it's free and it's really very, very amazing. So oh so yeah. Wow, that's okay. Okay, so so I have a stroke with 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 years ago. But before, I was a critical care and flight paramedic in many ambulance. So it's a lot of stuff to do. And Israel. And my mother also is Israeli, so I was speaking Hebrew and English, and then unfortunately after the stroke, I understand Hebrew, but I don't speak, read, or write any longer. But whatever. It's maybe later, maybe not. Who knows? Whatever. And then I was going to go to medical school, but first I went to surgery, and in the surgery I have a stroke resulting in aphasia because. So 1 or 2% has complication, and I'm here, and it's awesome. So basically, 4 months I was in the hospital working with OT, PT, and speech pathology, and I still working today, even today, with a speech pathology every day, and it's getting better and better and better, but it's very slow for me. I have Broca aphasia, so I understand everything roughly for you, so you can speak and I can speak with them. So yeah. So basically, aphasia is frustrating and also fun because it's funny. So I have difficulty with names, numbers, letters, reading, writing. It's very confusing for me. But help me. So hearing the first sounds or command to cues, nuanced dragon. Thank God I speak. I don't write any longer because I don't know how to write for a small words. Very small words. Very, very, very frustrating. Very, very not understanding at all. But I go every day, and it's with a speech pathology, and it's getting better, but the small word is so frustrating. But thank God I speak, and Nuanced Dragon listens and writes. So I is texting and email and stuff like that. It's fine. Again, sorry. Do you have any questions, comments, concerns as well? No. Okay. So after the stroke and aphasia, I went to the website and I see a lot of stuff to do, and it's really very, very cool. So basically, so EMS, police, firemen, and the hospital, I speak with a speech pathologist together, talking about aphasia and it's very, very good, and it's really very, very cool. And also, I love to do a lot of sports, disability sports before the stroke. Not football, so that's like stupid, like skydiving, scuba diving, hiking. And then after the stroke, I went to the website and I see a lot of things to do for disability sports, and it's great. And you can email or call me and ask a lot of stuff. And it's 3 hours or less, and it's in New York City, so it's really very, very, very cool. After the stroke, it's very hard. All I can say for 1 year was Michael, and I have no idea, even today, who is Michael. Maybe my cousin, maybe whoever, Michael, whatever. And then after the stroke, I write, and you can see it's garbage. And now it's garbage, but it's very good garbage as well. So yeah, North Shore LAJ. In New York City is called Help 1013. So like EMS, police, rushes for the bad man or whatever. So 3 months after the stroke, EMS, police, firemen have benefits for me. So friends, family, EMS, friend, stuff like that. So it's really very, very cool. And yeah, yeah. And I like ties a lot, cartoon ties. So it's really cool. So bear, anyway, it's really cool. Anyway, so after the stroke, I say, all right, I want to see what aphasia is, because before I know what aphasia is, but I don't really understand, and I don't care, because like trauma is awesome, a heart attack is awesome, but aphasia is like, whatever. So I went to the website and I see it's 4 words: difficulty naming object correctly. And I say, what the, like what? So thank God, like EMS, police, firemen, I email or I call and I talk with them and I say, is it okay to speak with a speech pathology about aphasia? And it's really very, very cool. Also, Bronx Zoo. Do you like Bronx Zoo? Okay, good. I like Bronx Zoo. It's awesome. So a lot of people and me went to Bronx Zoo, and I see the ambulance, North Shore LIJ. So I said, ooh, Michael, stop. Michael, ambulance, stop. So somebody stopped and I hobbled up, and Mike, who is my friend, and Danny was before driving with me together. So Mike and Danny's like, hey, how are you? Nice to see you. What's going on? And I say, Michael. So it's really very, very cool. So National Aphasia Center is called Aphasia Training Awareness. So Elaine Gansey a long time ago was a speech pathology, but is a president a long time ago. And Stephen Sabolic speak about aphasia with EMS, police, firemen, and 1 or 2 or 3 people who has aphasia speak about their story. So like EMS, Smithtown, USA, or New Jersey City Center, or and then I go either driving or flying or Zoom and speak with a speech pathology. So it's really, really cool. And also for me, I love doctor, nurses, PAs talking about aphasia. So it's really very, very cool. So, yeah. So before I was going to go to medical school, then I have a stroke. So 10 years later, I said, it's okay to speak with medical resident about aphasia. So the guy said, yeah, please, okay. So Gail Weissman is a speech pathology professor in Post. So she spoke about aphasia, and then Dr. Peter, long name, and I have aphasia, so blah, blah, blah. She was a neuro MD, pediatric MD, and then he has a stroke and aphasia. So he spoke about his story. So it's really very, very cool. And then I speak with 3 or 4 people who has aphasia, speak about their story. So it's really very powerful for me and OT and PT and speech, stuff like that. Kids as well. Like 4 months ago with Dodge, I went with EMS World Expo. EMS, whatever, and a lot of people talking about aphasia, EMS, but maybe in the future aphasia as well. Maybe not, who knows, but whatever. I went twice to LA, and one time I spoke with Dr. long name from he and I spoke with radio or TV about aphasia. So it's really very, very cool. Twice I went to ASHA, and one time I spoke with students, speech pathology students, about aphasia. I mean, my story. And then Expo is really very, very cool. So it's really very, very cool. So Alon, Sherry, Daphna and me, a long, long time ago, like in high school, was together, friends. And now Daphna is a Colorado House of Representative. So Daphna says it's okay to speak with EMS, speech pathology, and doctor about aphasia. And I said, oh, Michael, yeah. So yeah. So basically, Dr. Neurologist talking about aphasia, three people who is a speech pathologist speak about aphasia, and then Michael, who knows, they speak about their story. So it was really very, very cool. Oh, in Zoom, because it's after in the viruses. So yeah. And then twice I went to ASHA, and I spoke with EMS talking about aphasia. So it was really very, very cool. Again, Israel, many times I go to Israel because a lot of cousins live in Israel. So many times. And then after the stroke, I speak about aphasia. So it's really very, very cool. We'll skip that. We'll skip that. Brain injury support is different classification, but is the same idea. So me is aphasia. Brain injury support is people bump their head, and then they have aphasia. They have brain injury support. So is very, very cool, or not? I don't know. We'll see. So yeah, and then amputee. Sorry. So again, anything? Do you have any questions, comment, concerns as well? Okay. So now it's disability sports. So a lot of newspaper or article, whatever, has a lot of things to do, like amputee, wheelchair, handicap, stuff like that. And people talking about aphasia, people who have disability speak about their stories. So it's really powerful. A lot of stuff to do. Also, I go to a hospital to visit patients who have stroke. So Joe, who a long time ago was who has aphasia, I spoke about my story, and then I said, "So what's going on? How are you doing?" And he said, whatever. So yeah, it's good. It's really very, very cool. Carly McIntyre, I think so, maybe not. He was an actor, and then he has a stroke and aphasia. So he's like 10 years ago, he said, "You know what? On a bill, I want a movie called My Story." So now they have a movie called Aphasia the movie, like for 40 minutes, and then he speaks about his story. So it's really very, very interesting and is really cool. And then Chabelle Chase, he has aphasia now, but before he was a director, and he was directing a long time ago with Hillary Clinton. So, ooh la la. So yeah. All right. So things to do. Like I love to do a lot of sports, disability sports, and is really very, very cool. So moonlighting, riding horse in the winter, the summer, polar parachute, whatever. It's scary, but it's awesome. Moonlighting or riding horses in winter. I like winter. Zip lining, paintball, guns for hire in New Jersey is really very, very cool. Scary, and but it's really very, very cool. And people with aphasia also have a good time one-handed, and it's really very, very cool. So yeah, Impossible Dream, very, very cool. And every year in the summer, they go to Miami all the way to Maine, up and down in the summer. So look it up, Impossible Dream Catamaran, and maybe next year come, and it's free, and it's really, really very, very cool. And last year or 4 years ago, whatever, a lot of people who has aphasia come and have a good time, and it's really very, very cool. So look it up. Awesome. And again, it's free. Helen Chase Hospital and Burke Rehab has tons and tons of disability sports, and also it's very, very exciting. TIC Alum Makers is creating technology for people with disability. So OT, PT, speech pathologist, computer nerd, help people with disability sports together for 3 days. And it's very, very interesting, and it's a lot of fun to do. Also, it's free. Basically, after the stroke, after disability, it's 1, 2, 3/4. It's free. So a lot of people have a good time. And then 1.4 It's more money, but it's less than normal. So it's really very, very cool. Um, uh, Mountain adventures, like 2 months ago, I went to Mexico, and it's really very, very cool. Uh, uh, is boat glass bottom boat is glass, so you can see it's and Dodge is glass, so it's really very, very cool. Or not, I don't know, whatever, it's fine. There we go. So it's really very, very cool. Gliding, so Freedom Wings is a disability sports, disability flying in New Jersey, so you can go have a good time and it's free. So look it up, freedomwings.org. And then 6 people who is a pilot, 2 of them has a wheelchair. It's fine. Just have a good time. Just really very, very cool. Scuba and pool. And then later, a lot of people and me went to Bonaire and swam with, well, you can see is a lot of stuff. American Dream Mountain in Miami, Maine. Mall, American Dream, yeah. Wheels is really, and then 2 people who has aphasia, and me went to Ferris wheel and big Ferris wheel, and it's really very, very cool. Off-road, Northwest off-road adventure, really cool. So people with disability have a good time, and then a lot of people going to the mountain to drive, and it's again free. Kite in the Heights. Okay, Aaron Rothenberg is wheels. It's crazy. Do you know Aaron Rothenberg wheels? No. Go to YouTube and go to Aaron Rothenberg. But basically, he has a wheelchair and he doesn't care at all. And he goes to a mountain climbing, driving, flying all the way back, and it's crazy. Just look it up. It's awesome. And then this is like a small, is like whatever, crazy. Rock climbing. So disability in New Queens or Manhattan, climbing, and it's really very, very cool. Boxing, disability boxing. Again, Helen State Hospital. Hand cycling. Surfing, life goes on. So a lot of people with disability have a good time, and it's really very, very cool. And every year in the summer, Saturday and Sunday. So, have a good time. And it's really very, very cool. Sailing, Nyack Boat Club is sailing. So disability free, and it's have a good time, and it's really cool. And then after lunch, so hey, whatever. It's really very, very cool. Alpaca in Harmony is really cool, and it's a dog with a wheelchair, whatever. Yoga, I don't like Goga. I have a baby, so it's, whatever. But a lot of people with disability have a good time. And Sam, who has a wheelchair, he doesn't care. So he goes to a wheelchair and he is yoga with a lot of people with disability. And it's No Barrier Summit is the best ever. So it's 3 days for $100. And it's amazing, amazing, amazing. Skydiving, so it's really cool. Is video or not video?
This one, I think the others were. This one probably is.
No, I'm saying it's is time or not? Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Good. So let's go. Oops. Oh, I see. Here we go.
Good enough.
and I'm blowing up, but it's really cool. The salivation is like, all right. So, and then indoor skydiving. So no problem. You can go to indoor skydiving and have a good time. So again, is indoor skydiving. So it's really cool. And the guy, Kate, the guy who has aphasia, also have a good time and is really very, very cool. Row New York in Queens, in Extreme Kite, whatever. I love snowboarding. Sailing, I mean, ski is like stupid, but whatever. And then a lot of people have a good time. So Kyle and Chappelle, who has aphasia, have a good time together and, is guides together. So it's really very, very cool. Tennis, water ski or snowboarding. So Leaps of Faith is have a good time and it's free. It's free. So in New York, Connecticut is like 1.5 hours away. So, have a good time, whatever. Hot air balloon. Zoo in Vermont and snow, because I like snow, but I hate summer, winter. No, summer, I hate summer. I like winter, but that's me, not everybody else. Don't worry. It's all good. Snowmobiling. So it's two things. Number one, it's very, very, very cold, like in the winter, like freezing. It's winter. And also, I did not know it. It's very, very fast, 55 miles per hour. So I'm screaming, help, and nobody noticed because the motor is there. So thank God I'm here and whew, thank God. All right. So snowboard, skiing, skateboarding. Oh, sorry. Swimming. Ah, thank God, swimming. Ski bike. So it's really very, very cool. And you can see this is me and two people together helping together. So it's really very, very cool. Golf, really cool. Oh, 4 people who is blind. See the dogs? So I say, I'm sorry, I have a question. You are blind. And they said, yes. So I said, how do you do that? So he said, oh yeah, it's no problem. I golf and then I said, fetch dog, fetch. So yeah, it's really very, very cool. And then I went to Cancun dolphins in Cancun, and I swam with dolphins, sea lions, and manta rays. So it was really very, very cool. Stingray City, I swam with Stingray City. Is really very, very cool. It's really cool. So I was going to go, I swear, look it up. I was going to go to Pig City in Colorado, not Colorado, whatever. Unfortunately, what's that? Yes. Unfortunately, the weather is very hard, very founding, very scary. Not very scary. A lot of wind. So they canceled. And I'm so mad because I say, what the, swimming with pigs? Like what? So yeah. So I am doing it again. So yeah. And then, it's really cool. And then scuba and pool, scuba. So you can oxygen. So you have a good time and you can go swimming with oxygen. So it's really very, very cool. Archery. So it's, one arm. So it's really cool. Yeah. Okay, fine. All right, whatever. Falconry, so it's really very, very cool. So a lot of people, very, very, is biting. So don't bite. So yeah. Dog sledding in Glacier in a helicopter. So I like dogs. And many years ago, now it's Dodge. And then helicopter. So I'll show you. That's me. And then tandem swim. So it's really very, very cool. So you can go two people and have a good time. And it's really cool. Iki Block Flu swamp is basically alligator, a lot of alligators just sitting, waiting for and they is like 2 meters, 2 feet away, and but they don't care. So hey, whatever. It's really very, very cool. And then Westchester is disability sports, so a lot of people have a good time. So it's really cool, and things to do like dancing or rugby or you know things dancing, and then also together helping everybody together helping whatever. So train show or natural history or polar bear club in the winter, awesome. Yeah, you know, bathing suits, and a lot of people is cartoons, cartoons, not cartoons, cartoons. Yeah, cartoons together, swimming in the cartoons. Yeah, it's really very, very cool. And then also, you can go to Ability Expo in New Jersey, and it's really cool, and it's free, and it's very, very, very cool. So you and you can go, and you also have 6 or 7 different locations around the USA and Israel, in Canada. I don't know who is Canada, whatever, but whatever. So yeah, so look it up, Intrepid, or you know, have a good time, you know, stuff like that. So, and then this is Impossible Sky Combat is really very, very cool, and it's you can go to Google, not Google, Google, and go to Kate and Nate playing laser tag in airplane. So it's really very, very cool, and it's awesome. Or you can go to me, and I can email with you with Combat Ace. So it's really very, very cool. No Barrier Summit is a disability sports. So in the 3 days, in the morning, skiing, snowboarding, hiking, whatever you want. And then in the evening, people with disability or wounded warriors or kids speak about their story. So it's really very, very, very powerful. Again, you know, Eric Weinerberg, who is blind, he climbed to Mount Everest, or you know, stuff like that is crazy and it's really cool. Kyle Weiner, he has no arms, no legs. He doesn't care. So Eric and Kyle went another mountain and climbed. So it's really like crazy. So you know, you can go with No Barrier Summit and have a good time, and it's really very, very cool. Just have a lot of people, a lot of things to do. So after the stroke and aphasia, I have aphasia. So every year, tomorrow I am going, is Adler Aphasia Center has a play. So I am Sound of Music, and it's really very, so people with disability, people who has aphasia have a good time, and it's really cool. So whatever, don't go or do go, but it's really very, very cool. All right, goes there. Don't worry about it. And after the stroke, I really do wanted, I am doing it again, like EMS, volunteering, but EMS. So it's really very, very cool. So blah, blah, blah. And that's it. So yeah, that's it. So yeah. Any questions, comments, concerns?
Avi, thank you so much for coming to share. I'm just curious, besides the Special Olympics, Paralympics, are there any like sporting festivals for people with disabilities? And what are some organizations aside from Achilles Heels that people with disabilities that allow them athletes to participate in sports?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Again, it's in New York City or 3 hours away is a lot of people who had disability sports. So I can email with you, because I don't know who you're doing it, but and you can I can email with you with disability sports, and you can see a lot of stuff, including USA and 3 or 4 in around the world. So yeah, it's really very, very cool.
Avi, you're amazing. Thank you so much for being here and sharing. I have so many questions, and I'll just start with one. Were you this adventurous before your disability?
Yes. Yes. Not. It basically is sports. I again not say football, baseball. I don't like it, but like skydiving, scuba diving before the stroke and after the stroke. After the stroke, I went to a lot of hospital to work with a lot of experiment, and I saw the sign, a disability gliding. I said, "What the hell is that? Michael, what? Michael, what?" You know. So I went to the website and I said, "No." So I went to the Ability Expo. Nope. Flying. That's the Michael.
But I didn't know that horseback riding was accessibility sport.
What's that?
Horseback riding is accessibility sport.
Basically, yeah. Where is that? Right. Come on. Darn it. Oh, there we go. Yeah. First time after the stroke, and I say, "What the hell is that?" So I went to the website, and I see a lot of people with disability have a good time, and it's free. So that's in the past. So I went. Now I go to website and email and phone number, and I look and I say, I call or email. And I say, "Is it okay to come with disability?" And they said, "Yeah."
Do you have to have certain disability that provides this?
Again, I can email with you, and you can see a lot of website, or you can go to Facebook, and for me, New York City, NYC Disability Sports, and you can see a lot of stuff to do.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Can you hear me? Good. Okay. First of all, thank you for sharing your story. I kind of like her also have a few questions, but I'll try to limit it to like maybe 2.
Maybe 3.
Maybe, yeah. So one is I've only heard of people using a service dog for very specialized things, like for sight, or I have a friend where if someone asks her, like she'll say it's for alert because she can possibly need that assistance. But so I'm kind of wondering how your dog helps you with your aphasia. And I'm also wondering if you have like any short-term or longer-term goals when it comes to either, like that's kind of like a broad question, whether it's about your own aphasia recovery, because you said you're still actively doing like speech therapy, or whether it's about awareness. Like I've been involved with like Real Abilities and other disability like events in New York City in the past. And also aphasia, I think if you're not speaking to somebody, also would be categorized as like a non-apparent disability, which often people don't get or respect. So those are like some of my thoughts. Feel free to answer any of them or none.
No, it's fine. Crap. I'm sorry. Like, two different questions. Number one, what is that? Oh, the dog. Yes, the dog. Not speaking. No speaking because he doesn't care. But like, for example, I have no. It's very hard to thingy. So So he has teeth. No, this one. Socks. And he said socks, and he gets the socks in the drawer, and Yeah. So yeah. So that's number one. Number two, crap. Oh, what is that question?
I said more broadly. More broadly, your goals, whether it's about educating other people or your own aphasia journey or having a somewhat non-apparent disability and like,
Right.
Yeah.
So after the stroke, aphasia. First of all, number one, a lot of people who has aphasia go after the hospital, go to their apartment or house and lock the door and never come out. And I'm so mad because you don't want to work with a speech pathology, and that's whatever. And other half of them go to speech pathology and work, and everybody is different. So for me, it's getting better, but very slowly. Other people is no problem. Other people is very, very hard, but it's getting better ish. And number two, I speak with EMS or hospital about aphasia, so they understand what aphasia is, but don't really. They understand. They know what aphasia is because the people is patients who has aphasia, but now they understand more than before. So it's they know more than before. So yeah.
And
So a lot of us, many of us here are in some capacity in digital adjacent work in some way. Not everybody, but so when you spoke a few years ago, I know you were using Dragon then. Things like macOS dictation, iOS dictation have evolved, but maybe not sufficiently.
That's true.
At least for atypical speech patterns. I know things like Google's Project Relate is intended to help support atypical speech. But I'm just curious from your perspective, what's evolved and what still needs to evolve in kind of the digital space for aphasia support?
So unfortunately, aphasia is everybody who has aphasia is different. So that's number one. And for me, I try like Google thingy very hard because number one, I don't know that I'm wrong or right. I don't realize that I speaking high or rock or whatever. It's very frustrating for me. But I still are working with a speech pathologist every day, and it's getting better. But everybody who has aphasia is different. So yeah, do you understand? Yeah.
I think we have time for one. So thank you.
Thank you. As a follow-up, are you finding that speech therapy is best when you have him face-to-face, one-on-one person? I went through speech therapy for 13 years. I went through hell. I can't tell you how many therapists I made cry and didn't want to work with me.
Me too.
But, we talk about AI and digital solution and all that, and I think maybe this is more of a comment. There's nothing that will replace the human interaction. And what you're doing here with all these activities, that's a human interaction. We need the human connection just to help you get through the day, through the path. So no question there, just a comment.
Thank you. But also AI is, for me, who has aphasia, amazing. AI is like super duper awesome.
In what way?
So I text or I WhatsApp, and for me, they understand roughly what's going what I am emailing, but AI is like everyone's like, oh yeah. But again, the aphasia, not everybody else. So yeah.
Cool. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Theoretically, we have like 2 minutes more for a question if anyone has one.
We can also always.
Yeah. Right.
So the question is more technical because you had in one of your slides the brain injury, and you said that there are different kinds of brain injury. So you have aphasia is one kind of brain injury.
Correct.
How do you define that? Like, how do the doctors do tests, or is it the psychologist or speech pathologist that realize that this is exactly what you have?
Actually, both. Dr. Austin, I like doctors a lot. Doctors say aphasia, but the speech pathology really goes deeper than the doctors. Meaning doctors is awesome, but speech pathology who has aphasia, speech pathology know that is very more critical, than normal. So they are doing it every day, every 2 days, getting better, and it's everybody is different, but yeah. Sorry, do you understand me?
Yeah, it's like like doctors will prescribe physical therapy, right?
Yeah.
They're not the ones who are there day to day, sensing how you're doing and helping you along your day to day.
Exactly. And by the way, just saying, before I was a paramedic, doctor, nurses, PAs, OT, that's awesome. I did not know it at all that a speech pathologist is there in the hospital. Never. Yeah, but yeah.
Thank you so much. That's
Wait. No, okay. Thank you very, very much.
And